Have you ever felt like you were different from those around you? That you weren't meant to follow the same ordinary path as everyone else? If you've always sensed that your life carries a greater purpose, know this. It's not a coincidence. It's a divine calling. The trials you faced, the challenges that seemed impossible to overcome, were never meant to break you. Instead, they were shaping you for something extraordinary. The Bible makes it clear. God handpicks certain individuals for a higher purpose. He doesn't choose at random. He refines and prepares those he calls. But how can you tell if you're one of them? Today we are going to reveal 7 undeniable signs that indicate you have been chosen by God for something greater. If these signs resonate with you, then it's time to embrace your calling. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you never miss another life-changing revelation. If this message speaks to you, declare it in the comments. I believe that God has called me for something great. You feel a deep sense that you are made for more. While others may be content with an ordinary life, you've never been able to settle. There's an inner hunger that drives you to seek more meaning, more purpose, more than just existing. This is not a random feeling. Jeremiah 1:5 tells us that before you were even born, God had already set you apart. You were designed for something significant, and that restless desire for more, it's his way of pulling you toward your divine destiny. 2, you have faced unusual hardships. If your journey has been marked by difficulties, know this. God always refines those he chooses. Think of Joseph, betrayed, enslaved, imprisoned. To the world, it looked like his life was falling apart. But in reality, God was positioning him for greatness. The setbacks, betrayals, and struggles you've endured were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to strengthen you, preparing you for a future beyond what you can imagine. 3, you struggle to fit into the world's system. While many chase after wealth, status, and temporary pleasures, you've always felt that those things are not enough. Something inside you craves more than money and luxury. You long for something deeper, something eternal. That's because you were never meant to follow the world's way of thinking. You were chosen to influence, to lead, and to bring God's presence into every space you step into. 4, you face intense spiritual attacks. The moment you step into your divine calling, the enemy takes notice. The opposition you faced, betrayals, setbacks, unexpected hardships are not coincidences. They are proof that you are a threat to the kingdom of darkness. Look at Job, a man blessed beyond measure, yet suddenly everything was taken from him. Why? Because he was chosen. But in the end, God restored him with twice as much as he had lost. The spiritual battles in your life are not a sign of defeat. They are evidence that you are destined for something powerful. 5, you feel an unshakable pull toward righteousness. Even in moments of failure or temptation, something inside you keeps drawing you back to God. While others can sin without concern, you feel the weight of your actions deeply. That's because you carry God's spirit within you. Look at David. He made grave mistakes, yet he was still called a man after God's own heart. Why? Because when he fell, he always returned to the Lord. If you've ever tried to blend into the world but fell out of place, it's because you were never meant to belong to it. 6, God has supernaturally provided for you. Have you ever been in a situation where you had no way out, yet somehow things worked in your favor? That wasn't luck. That was divine provision. Think of Elijah during the famine. There was no food, yet God sent ravens to feed him. Later, a widow with only a handful of flour and oil was commanded by God to provide for him, and her resources never ran out. If you've ever experienced doors opening just when you needed them most, it is proof that God has his hand on your life. 7, God removes certain people from your life. Have you ever wondered why some relationships ended, even when you didn't want them to? It may have felt like rejection, but in reality, it was divine protection. God will separate you from people who cannot go where he is taking you. Look at Moses. He grew up surrounded by luxury in Pharaoh's palace, but before he could step into his calling, God had to pull him away from that life. You may have lost friendships, relationships, or opportunities, but trust this, God is making space for something better. You have been attacked, but never defeated. If you're still standing after everything you've been through, it's because God has never let you be destroyed. The enemy tried to take you out, but he failed. Paul said it best. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed. perplexed but not in despair, persecuted but not abandoned, struck down but not destroyed. 2 Corinthians 4 to 8-9. If you have survived the worst seasons of your life, know this: the best is yet to come. What will you do now? Now that you know these signs, the real question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you continue to doubt yourself, or will you fully step into the purpose God has for you? And being chosen is not just about knowing, it's about acting. God has been calling you, refining you, and preparing you, but the choice to walk into your calling is yours. If this message has spoken to your spirit, make sure to subscribe so you never miss another life-changing revelation. Like this video as a declaration that you recognize God's hand on your life. And if you're ready to step into your divine purpose, watch the next video on your screen now. It will take you even deeper into what God has planned for you. Your journey is just beginning. The best is yet to come.